Coos Bay City Council to order. Would you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. So we have two counselors that are ill and won't be attending this evening, Sarah Stevens and Lucinda DeNovo. Carmen Matthews is going to be virtual. And so we'll get started. First item on the agenda is public comments. So this would be the time to come forth and make a comment, preferably something that's not on the agenda, but just come up, give us your name and where you reside, what city. Any public comments? Okay, seeing no public comments. Next item is the consent calendar. Council, how would you like to proceed?
Move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as submitted. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. So the next item is consideration of approval of a Veterans Day proclamation. Is there anyone here that would like to read the proclamation, or I'll read it? If we have no one from veterans to read it? Okay, it'll be my pleasure and honor. A proclamation by the City Council of the City of Coos Bay, Oregon, honoring Veterans Day. Whereas our nation was founded on the belief that all citizens were guaranteed an inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas the freedom we enjoy as Americans do not come without a price. And whereas our nation's military veterans have sacrificed, preserved, and protect those rights from all our enemies, foreign and domestic. And whereas in 1919, November 11th was initially proclaimed as Armistice Day to honor our country's World War I veterans on the one-year anniversary of the signing of the Armistice, which brought an end to the war. And whereas in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed legislation which proclaimed every November 11th as a day to honor all veterans of the United States and Armed Forces. And whereas citizens of the Coos Bay serve and have served in the United States Armed Forces. Now, therefore, I, Joseph Benetti, Mayor of the City of Coos Bay, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby recognize November 11th, 2021 as Veterans Day in the City of Coos Bay and encourage all citizens to join in this special observance, thanking all veterans for their sacrifice and service to our country. So, it's a great proclamation, and I want to take this time to thank all our veterans for all they do and continue to do and serve. Anyway, with that being said, Council, we need an approval to approval of the Veterans Day proclamation.
I move that we approve the Veterans Day proclamation. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments, anyone? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item on the agenda is consideration to award contract for 2021 fall pothole repairs.
Thank you. The city is committed to improve conditions of the city street infrastructure. Staff has identified several large potholes within city limits to repair. These potholes have been identified on the attached exhibit. The city received one bid from Johnson Rock Products. 3 other contractors attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting but declined to bid on the project, stating workload constraints and other larger project opportunities. The budget implications, transportation utility fee dollars will fund this project. If it pleases the council, award the contract for this repair project to Johnson Rock Products for $99,964 plus a 15% contingency of $14,995 for a total not to exceed $114,959.
So there's no engineering estimate on this. It's just, so do we have a guideline? Or how's
We
it
did
work?
an in-house estimate and we estimated $80,000.
Okay.
It is a very erratic bidding climate out there these days.
Sure. So you said it was 80,000 you estimated in-house?
Yes.
Okay.
What
Council?
do you mean by that, Jennifer? That it's
Um,
tough to get bidders?
Well, we had four contractors that attended the pre-con meeting and we only received one bid. They're going for larger projects. The lead times are affecting costs. Workload is affecting costs. They're having trouble even getting staffed, just like everyone else.
So if you want it done, you're going to probably pay a little bit more.
That's what we're seeing across the board.
Okay.
Surprised they're that busy going into the winter.
I know.
Maybe backlogged. I think.
Well, and then the thing is, if we didn't accept this bid and went out again, this would postpone it down the road, and I'm not sure that's what we want to do at this time.
Well,
Okay,
we kind of need to get it done, don't we, before the asphalt?
yeah, I think overall we've been pretty fortunate with some of our bids, and so, some are going to be higher and some are going to be lower, but overall it's been pretty good, I think. So how would you like to proceed, council?
I'll make a motion to award the contract for this repair project to Johnson Rock Products for $99,964, plus the 15% contingency of $14,985, for a total not to exceed $114,959.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to award the contract for the 2021 fall potholes to Johnson Rock Products. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Sorry, Carmen, I was a little quick there.
You're all good.
Okay. Let's see. Consideration to approve change order for the on-call as-needed electrical services contract with Kyle Electric. Jennifer?
The city has several facilities that require miscellaneous electrical services on a frequent basis. As such, an invitation to bid was advertised on January 2020 for on-call electrical services. At the time the invitation to bid was published, the municipal facilities included City Hall, Visitor Information Center, public workshops, parks, buildings and grounds, streetlights, library, fire hall, Egyptian Theater, and museum. The invitation to bid proposed work up to $75,000 and was for a 2-year duration. 2 bids were received, one from Kyle Electric and one from Reese. To date, Reese has expended $20,331 of that contract, and to date, Kyle Electric has expended $63,955 of that contract. What was not known when this invitation was advertised was that the city was going to perform operations and maintenance of their sanitary and storm sewer systems in-house. Kyle Electric was the electrical contractor for the expansion and construction of wastewater treatment plant 2 project, and they have performed extensive work at plant 1. While the water quality division will use Reese Electric when it is appropriate, there is great benefit to also having the ability to utilize Kyle due to their extensive knowledge of the city's sanitary sewer system. For these reasons, staff is requesting a change order to the current on-call as-needed electrical service contract with Kyle Electric for $50,000, which will increase the amount not to exceed from $75,000 to $125,000 for continued services between now and March 2022. It is the intention of staff to re-advertise the invitation to bid in a month so that a new contract can be entered into upon the expiration of the current contracts. The budgetary impacts will depend on which facility electrical services are needed and the action requested. If it pleases council, approve a $50,000 change order to the on-call as-needed electrical services contract with Kyle Electric for a total amount not to exceed $125,000.
Questions? So if I understand correctly, this is only utilized if necessary, if they are called out. Otherwise, it's not expended.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Would you like to proceed, council?
I move we approve the change order to the on-call as-needed electrical services contract with Kyle Electric for a total amount not to exceed $125,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to do the change order for the on-call as-needed electrical services contract with Kyle Electric. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Roger, city manager's report.
Yes, earlier today, I sent you all an update on a portion of the city goals, and one of those says completed, and that is the conversion of all your street lamp inventory to LED. That's slightly premature because that won't be completed till Friday.
Okay.
But I know it's one of your goals, and I'm happy to report that that one's getting accomplished and will be done this week. Secondly, of course, the council has a strong desire and a priority for street maintenance, and while you've just approved some pothole repairs, a previous contract that you approved for another project over at 7th between Lockhart and Coos is started this week, and that's will be a little bit more than pothole repairs, some resurfacing in that area. And after they finish that, then they'll head over to Minnesota. Another project involves the library roof. We'll be talking about that in the next meeting. But that project has started. It'll probably be a little chilly over at the library in the next few days because they're going to remove the HVAC systems so that they can do the roof repair or re-roofing around those areas this week. And, you know, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the Water Quality Division. You know, it's just been a few months since we've taken over that division. Jennifer and her team has done a fabulous job in preparing for that. I was told today the numbers are looking really good on testing. We again made it through a month without any fecal hits. And the process is improving both at Treatment Plant 2 and Treatment Plant 1. Although I can't tell you it's always going to be easy sailing, and we're going to be going into some challenging months because we're now going into the rainy season, and so we're going to have that inflow and infiltration increased flows that comes with that. Last, I wanted to share that, you know, sometimes we just need to revisit some of our ordinances. As we were discussing today, and maybe some of you have seen on Facebook, there's been some noise about some Uber drivers in the area. Well, the question is, how do we license them? Because we do license vehicles that pick up people for hire through our taxi cab ordinance. But our taxi cab ordinance hasn't been updated in 20 years, and it doesn't quite fit. So what we're going to do, until we can update it, we're going to go with the spirit of the taxi cab ordinance. We're going to require them to have business licenses and to undergo background checks. The theory behind background checks is, you know, if I had my daughter riding in a vehicle for hire, I want to make sure that that driver doesn't have an unsavory background. I want to have some confidence in the safety of the driver. So, and it goes the same with their driving record. So, we will be coming back to you with some updated. We'll obviously be checking with some of our other cities around the state to find out what they've done. Many other cities have Uber drivers. It's been late in coming to us, but I just wanted to share where we're going in that. And that's all I have.
Along those lines about the new, upgrading the taxi ordinance, is that something that we should try to do with the city of North Bend maybe, or at least reach out to them, since it would impact
Yeah.
both of us,
We
I
will.
would think. At least try and see if they're willing to do that. And the other thing, I think you mentioned your update also, Roger, your Coos Bay Boulevard, right? We're looking at getting financing for that because that's not an urban renewal or falls into the category that we could expend that kind of money. So
Correct. We have it at one area in the curves, both up in the curves of Coos Bay Boulevard and then down as it intersects 10th. There's part of it sloughing, and we've had to evaluate it in the past, and the recommended course of action is to stabilize the hillside. And then once we have it stabilized for more than a year, then we can repave. But that's the next big project. It's estimated over a year ago to be around $800,000. And the council has chosen to finance that through debt service. So we're going through a loan process right now to secure that, and then we'll use a portion of our street funding source that's derived from the Pacific Power franchise fee to make those debt service payments.
Okay. Any questions on Roger's?
I have a question. On the LED lighting, are we seeing any impact, positive impact from that yet in our billings? Or do we need to wait a little longer?
We're not seeing a significant difference just yet, and I think some of it's been in the long time we've been working on those upgrades. I would expect in the next, couple months we should start seeing some measurable differences.
Yeah, it'll get lighter earlier and,
Mhm.
okay.
All right, council comments. Stephanie, we'll start with you.
Just only one that I have is a reminder coming up. We hit November. That means it's all about holidays for a lot of us. And the Coos Bay Downtown Association kicks off their holiday season events on the, let me get this here, let me get some glasses on here, November 12th and 13th for the downtown holiday open houses. And they have multiple retailers downtown that are participating in that, and you need to just pick up a map at either Katrina Kathleen's or Checkerberry's. Checkerberry's has moved over to Coos Bay Village, so they're covering us from the 5x5 in downtown and also Coos Bay Village in between. And if you shop downtown, save your receipts, because there will be a time where you can turn those in and get a commemorative mug for every $100 that you spend. So just a nice, fun thing that the Coos Bay Downtown Association, we hope you'll shop local. We have lots of things to explore in downtown, Coos Bay Village, along Front Street. That's all I
Anything
have.
else?
Nope, that's all I have.
Thanks, Stephanie. Rob?
I wanted to give everyone an update on the hiring a design consultant for the new library. The process for hiring a design consultant begins with a request for proposal, and then interested applicants submit some statement of qualifications. The committee reviews those and then makes a short list and interviews a short list of candidates, and then makes a decision. At that point, the city submits an intent to award, and after that's been done, then they can begin negotiating a scope and fee with the selected consultant. We met last week and reviewed 3 statement of qualifications. We narrowed that down to 2, and we will be interviewing those 2 next Wednesday. The committee has a request for the council. In the original schedule, we were going to present a recommendation to the city council on November 23rd. We're asking that maybe we can skip that step, because if by next Wednesday we've made a decision, then the city can start negotiating that Friday, I think. Is that right, Jennifer?
Correct.
And then once they get the scope and fee settled, they'll bring the contract to the council for us to approve.
So, how does the council feel about that? I mean, basically would skip the 11/23 meeting that this be presented to. If I understand correctly, this would save a month,
Yes.
take a month off
And-
timeframe.
Sounds good.
So, I mean,
And the bond committee needs some certain submittals from this design consultant at a certain date for us to go out for a bond in May. So anytime we can save is beneficial, not only in time, but if we're squeezing more work in a short period of time, then it's going to cost us more as well.
and the contract, the final contract would still come before the council for
Correct.
ratification. So, if for some reason you felt unhappy about it or weren't satisfied, that we could deal with it at that time, so.
Is there an opportunity, though, just to keep us apprised along the way what's happening, what the recommendations would be?
Yes,
so
I
that
can-
we're
I
aware.
can present to the council is selected at the, whatever council meeting. I think there's a council meeting the next week, right?
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now, but it'll be the week after we make the selection.
Yeah, I'd like to keep it in view of the public, only because we're going to be asking them to help fund this, and anytime we can talk about it is important in my book.
Sure.
No pun intended.
Well, I think it's, once this starts getting on its way, I think maybe getting a regular update, at least monthly or something, would be advantageous, and so we can do that. Carmen, how do you feel?
That sounds good to me.
So, Nate, do we need to do a motion on this, or? I think they just need consensus.
Can't hurt.
Okay, so can I get a motion to that, how do you want to word this? That this won't be coming before the council on September 20th, or November 23rd, but,
I
So-
think I would just make a motion to to the fact that you're approving a modification to the selection process and allowing the selection committee to identify the successful candidate.
And if you want, you can just say so moved.
So I was just going to say, can I just say so
I was
moved?
thinking it.
So moved.
All right, it's been so moved and it's been seconded to change what Roger stated about the process for the library chosen for the engineers, architects. All right, that being said, any other discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
None opposed. All right. Drew?
I got nothing. Glad to hear nothing from the wastewater plant has hit the fan, and that's all I got.
Carmen?
Yeah, so my comments today are based mostly on, been thinking about parks a lot lately. Been hearing a discussion, or a movement to, push for mountain bike trails or some kind of trails in our water board property. And I just wanted to bring that up and, say that I'd like to move forward with a discussion, either, amongst our council or maybe joining in with a discussion with the North Bend City Council about the potential for a mountain bike trail system or some running trails of some sort out in the water board property. It's a project that I've seen around the country that seems to be working pretty well, and mountain biking sure is seeing an uptick in popularity here in Oregon and here in Coos Bay with the addition of the Whiskey Run mountain bike trails. And I just think it would be a huge benefit to our community to have something like that right in the center of our town. So that's the first thing. And then the additional comment I had was talking with the Oregon Coast Visitors Association, OCVA, heard talk about a potential for a Frisbee golf course in the Empire Lakes system, parks territory, and was able to look up at a proposed design for a an 18-hole layout for a Frisbee golf course. And it sounds like they are willing to help us out in a lot of different ways with funding for, most of the materials and the infrastructure, basically. Not very heavy in terms of infrastructure, but I think it would be another great thing for our community to see some increased usership that is recreational in the Empire Lakes district area, and just like to kind of move forward with those and maybe start a discussion at some point or get it on our agenda to see what we can make happen. That's all I have.
Okay, well, the first item, Frisbee golf course, Frisbee golf is on its way back, I guess. I keep seeing it all over, but this should go to the Parks Commission, should it not?
Yeah, I think that's where I would start next. There's possibly two avenues, of course. If there's funding, I think you want to get a recommendation from your Parks Commission on that. And if, let's say you don't have the funding, then the next course of action, of course, is that we're going to be updating our Parks Master Plan. And that should be at least included when it goes out to the community, is what is the interest of the community in supporting something like that. But every once in a while these opportunities come up.
So how do you feel about that, Council? Is this something that, well, first of all, I think we should definitely send it to the Park Commission, but, and then, I mean, I support it because it's a tourist-driven type thing, plus even the locals are very involved in it. They have one in North Bend, we have one at Mingus Park. I know we've talked about it at the airport, which hasn't happened, but they had the opportunity to build one there. But anyway, sending to the Parks Commission, get a recommendation, and as Roger stated, would probably be the way to go. Everyone all right with that?
I think it definitely needs to go to the Parks Commission. That's why we have them to, toss that around and take a look at it. I've been watching what's happening in North Bend, and I think it's really important that they take the time to look at that, because there is some impact to people that use the parks and I'm not sure if they're proposing it to be a portion of the park that's already existing, and I'm not sure how that would work, and I think that's where the Parks Commission can step in and take a look and see what the intent of that park is and how it's utilized right now and if it fits there. And
Okay.
as far as the water board thing that he brought up, that's come up before, and I think there's a number of things that we need to consider before we open that up to the public.
Well, this has been something that's been bandied around quite a bit, Stephanie, and I agree with you that it's been discussed before, but I think as a tourist draw, this is huge. I mean, Janice can tell you that they had some tracking on the mountain bike trail at Whiskey Run, and it's phenomenal. I mean, I think over 30,000 people attended that. That's outside, not even counting the locals that used it. And this is something that's been brought up, as you said, many times. I think that we should make an attempt to go forth to the water board, and we, since it's a joint operation with North Bend, I think getting a committee together and discussing this and a plan, than just going up there and saying, we want you to open it up. I think there needs to be some kind of committee and a plan put together that we agree on, both councils, and then that we would give to the water board with a plan that we think would be successful.
Well, and
see if
that's what
it's-
I wasn't sure, is that something that has to go before the water board
Yes.
first, before it comes to us? Or is
Well-
it something that comes before us and then we go to the water
Well,
board?
it's like the chicken and the egg.
Yeah,
It's like
which
type
one?
thing. But, I think if we just go up there and ask them, this is my opinion, but, and it's up to North Bend and the rest of this council, if we just went up there and asked them, they would ask, they probably would not be too receptive. That's been the case in the past, but I think if we went through with a plan, we want mountain bike, walking trails, what we presume, want to make sure it's contained in a way that it's not going to affect them, and what we envision, I think we have a better chance of the water board accepting this. Roger, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, my
I'm
thoughts
sorry,
are
let me keep myself
that
topic.
if the council's okay, we would reach out to the cohort out of North Bend to see if they concur that this is worth exploring, and if that's the case, and I have talked to the water board director, if there's concurrence from both, then I think we could approach the water board to say we would like to form a committee to explore it, and at least have their buy-in in exploring the idea, and then coming back with pros, cons, and some possibilities for them to consider. This will be one of those things, it's going to be something new and different, and they're going to want to make sure that they can protect the water supply.
Yeah, if we can take advantage of the mountain bike thing, and I still think there should be some walking trails too, because I'm not so good at the mountain bike thing. But anyway, I just know what the draw has been, and it's really a tourist impact situation. And if we, as Carmen mentioned, if we could have one here, Whiskey Run, and they're developing one in Curry County. And I think that there's some funding out there for us to tap into through ACFA, Travel Oregon, maybe TSOC, maybe all of them, to help us develop this. I think it would.
I don't think that there's a problem with that.
Right.
Are the other ones being proposed around our water source? That's my concern, and I think that's the big consideration when we open
Sure.
it up to the public.
And, I've looked into this,
Well-
and there are some water sources, like up in Portland. They have activities around theirs. So this is not something new. I think it just needs to be approached to them in a fashion that we're conscious of their property up there. And that I think it should be done in a way that it can be handled. And I agree, Stephanie, these are all the things that need to be researched,
Yeah.
so. But I
Yeah,
think, I'd like
Or a
to.
committee.
I would agree as well. And I would just, that the safety is always number one, but this is not a unique concept. It's been done all around the country, and many municipalities use their water sources in different ways. And so I think that, getting some recreational benefit out of our water board property would just enhance our community experience. That's my opinion.
So if everyone's all right, we'll have Roger approach North Bend, see how they feel about it, and then take Roger's suggestion where would we approach.
I feel very bad that I took us off the topic of the disc golf course, and the other counselors did not get to comment, so just throwing that out there.
No, they could if they wanted to. Is there any discussion on the disc golf course either one of these items? At least on the water, I think the disc golf course can go to the park commission and we'll get a recommendation from them. Roger will direct to move forward with and talk to North Bend, approach them, see how they feel about it, and then take his advice and go to the water board, and if they're see if we can come back with a plan that would be acceptable to the water board. Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Carmen. Good comments. The only comment I have this evening, again, unfortunately, Facebook always just seems to be around with comments. And so this is, I guess, for the police department. Someone mentioned how it's sad that our crime rate's increasing in Coos County. And I'm not necessarily knowing that that's the case or not the case. Maybe I don't see it as much as our officers and our police department do. So I was wondering if we could get a report on the crime rate and just kind of give us a feel of how things are in the county, actually, instead of just people saying crime's up in the county. I know that our crime rate is related to other things like availability in the jails and those type of things also. So anyway, if you don't mind, Captain, if we could just get a report, and I don't think it needs to be urgent, but it would be appreciated.
Will do. Yes,
sir. And those are my comments. And so we're going to adjourn the Coos Bay City Council meeting. And we do have a Urban Renewal Agency meeting that our chair, Stephanie, will take over. So the council meeting is adjourned, and the Urban Renewal Agency meeting, Stephanie will take on.
All right, then I am going to call the Coos Bay Urban Renewal Agency meeting to order, and our first item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any public comments for items not on the agenda? All right, we'll move to the consent calendar, and how does the agency wish to proceed?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar as presented.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the consent calendar. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Third item is the consideration of award of the library roof repair contract under emergency procurement. And are you taking that, Jennifer? All
I
right.
am, thank you. The library has been patched several times over the past years to mitigate rain damage. These attempts have failed, and there is a threat that any new damage may deem the library uninhabitable. Repairing the roof will help reduce further damage and allow occupation of the building by library staff and patrons until a new library can be built. If staff were to bid the roofing upgrades through the typical process, it would take months to bid and award the project to the lowest bidder, and it will move the construction into the rainy season. Staff and the contractors believe that if the roof is not replaced prior to the winter months, the roof may fail or cause further damage, risking the potential that the building cannot be occupied. Because of these reasons, findings can be made that comply with Resolution 17-14, Section 11, titled Emergency Procurement. In an effort to perform due diligence, staff reached out to 4 contractors. 2 were non-responsive, but Evergreen Roofing provided the city a bid of $312,814. However, the bid omitted the removal and reinstallation of the HVAC units and also did not include the replacement of the windows or the skylighting in their proposal. They also proposed a timeline of 4 months before they can even start the work. Tom Gajewski Construction provided a base bid of $689,900. While more than Evergreen Roofing, it was comprehensive and would commit to completing the project no later than November 15th of this year. A new roof is expected to extend the life of the structure long enough for a new library building to be constructed. However, further repairs may need to be performed in the future to keep the structure a functioning library. The repairs may include foundation improvements, reconnecting the rain downspouts to the underground piping, mold abatement, air quality monitoring, and ceiling repairs. At this time, staff is only proposing to replace the roof. At a later date, the items just mentioned may be presented to the agency for consideration. The project will be funded by Downtown Urban Renewal Funds. The proposed cost of $689,900 includes everything to complete the project in the timely manner. A 15% contingency of $485,000 is recommended, as well as a budget for board replacement if rot is encountered in the amount of $17,250. This brings the total to $810,635. So if it pleases the agency, approve the emergency procurement and award of contract for Tom Gajewski Construction LLC to replace the library's roofing system for an amount not to exceed a total of $810,635.
So I'll share with the council that this is really a taking care of business issue. As the council's well aware, we shared this issue with you in the past and shared that we were going to use the emergency procurement process. We actually have engaged the contractor and we have already entered the contract. The work is in progress, but this is part of the process to be transparent in how we do our finances. And when we don't use the normal procurement process, we have to bring findings to you, and then you have to approve it, even if it's after the fact. But it does daylight how we're conducting business as a city.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions?
I
Guess
have a
we haven't had
question.
any yet. Any questions?
On the 4x8 CDX fire retardant plywood, does that unit price include installation or something?
So he gave us a unit price per 4x8 sheet, and he estimated the amount that may need to be replaced. That's how we came up with that budget. So we worked with Tom Gajewski on that. So it's only will be spent if he encounters rot, and only up to that amount.
But it's $575 a unit.
Yep, that's for, we question that as well. That's for removal, replacement, all the labor, all the material and hardware.
So if for some reason he doesn't need to replace any of the plywood, does the amount of the bid go down?
We will not expend $17,250.
Okay.
And Sammy, isn't it true that some new leaks have formed in the young adult section and some poetry collection got ruined recently?
Well, prior to the starting, yes, they have covered the area of the YA, and nothing is,
So they have, I've seen cones out, they have started the work.
Correct.
Have they run into any problems so far that you know of?
No, none that's been reported, and Greg Hamblett, our operations administrator, is checking in daily.
Oh, perfect.
Well, it definitely is needed. I'm glad we're moving forward on it, so.
Is somebody collecting pictures?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
we're not comfortable,
Any
I
other
just want to
questions?
remind the council and the public that this is a temporary repair and it does not mean that we don't need a new library still.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, so we looked at other options where we could go into another building and try to relocate. It's just not financially feasible. It would be much more than this amount. So this makes sense. This would deteriorate the building even more if we didn't have this done. So it just makes sense to do it. Because it's, when the bond passes, we still have a period of building this and getting the site ready, which is going to probably take, how many years?
It's probably going to be a 3 to 4 year process.
So
before
3 to 4 years. So we would just leave the library in a horrible situation if this wasn't done, so.
Thank
being
you. I
true.
was going to make sure we mention that as well, because it's not something that, when the bond passes, it's going up and it's done in just a few months. It's going to take a while. So it is a process, and it's a process that is not unique to the city. It's any project. It's going to take a bit. Any other comments or questions? How does the board wish to proceed?
I'll make a motion to approve the emergency procurement and award of contract for Tom Gajewski Construction LLC to repair, replace the library's roofing system for an amount not to exceed a total of $810,635.
Second?
All right, we have a motion to approve the emergency procurement and award of contract to Tom Gajewski Construction to repair, replace the library's roofing system, not to exceed a total of $810,635. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. And I believe that is all that we have on the
I have
agenda.
a comment.
Oh, sure.
I'm happy to announce that the Boys and Girls Club Dance School project is officially completed. As you know, this agency contributed a $150,000 grant to that project, and I'm happy to give anybody a tour. All you gotta do is let me know and I'll take you out there. We're working on doing some kind of ribbon cutting or open house as soon as COVID dies down a little more.
That's awesome. I would love to have a tour. Spent a lot of time in there in my youth. Looks a lot different, I'm sure.
It does.
All right, anything else to come before the agency? Then we are adjourned.